Welcome to the Inglorious Blasters Podcast, a Star Wars Legion podcast talking anything and everything glorious or inglorious about the game. My name is Corey, and with me today are two stiff troopers, storm bloopers, John and Brendan. How's it going?
It's going good.
Yes, I can tell by the shocked looks on your faces. An alternate name for stormtroopers thought up by Ezra Bridger. There you go.
Where was this one?
I think it's in a Rebel. I think it's a comic book, Rebel Journal.
Okay.
You guys can't see Brendan's face.
Yeah, Rebel Journal.
That is probably the most amusing part of any of these insults. It's just watching the look.
Brendan's just doing calculations. He's like, huh? Like, what does this mean?
Exactly. Yeah, no. My facial expressions are something.
They're top tier.
I don't even
Which is great in audio format.
It's just perfect for audio.
I don't want to be beaten
Anyways,
down.
Today on the podcast, today we got Asajj. We're going to go over her. She was fully spoiled. And then we got a Glorious versus Inglorious segment. We're going to be talking about Droidekas today. Haven't done one of those segments in a while, so it should be fun. And then, stick around. Should be a fun episode. Brendan, do you want to run through Asajj? Because, John and I can't read.
Yep. Glad that hasn't changed. It gives me something to do. All right. So, Asajj Ventress is a separatist assassin, shockingly, in the separatist faction. She is an operative for 150 points with 2 force upgrades and 2 training upgrades. She's a trooper with 5 health and 2 courage with red defense dice. And she does not surge for offense or defense with 2 speed. She has jump 2, deflect, independent dodge 1, indomitable, immune pierce, Jar Kai mastery, which is a new mastery in the game, which is while performing a melee attack, you may spend any number of dodge tokens. For each dodge token spent, improve 1 attack die result. So basically marksman, but using dodges. And she has Relentless. She has 1 weapon profile. It's Asajj Ventress' lightsabers, which is a melee weapon. Impact 2, Pierce 2, and 8 black dice. So before we get to the command cards, because that really changes things, what do we think of just the base profile?
That's a lot of keywords. Seems really good. I love seeing Relentless on a Jedi. So that means I don't got to spend an action doing an attack or for a charge. So I like that.
Yeah.
Indomitable is interesting. That will sometimes get you in trouble, right? You might just blank out on those red dice. But more often than not, she'll probably be fine.
Yeah, she's solid. Cheapest force user in the game.
Yeah.
Oh, also that. Yeah. So, you just got to kill, something, bigger than you, right? Just literally go hunting a Jedi.
Yep.
Yeah.
A perfect segue into her 3-pip.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, but I just want to add real quick, independent dodge 1, perfect in CIS because perfect order control, just don't order her. And the Indomitable is important because she's the only Jedi character with 2 courage in the game. So, with the changes to suppression, that could be bad. So, if she's not going anywhere.
Yep.
But yeah, looking at her command cards, I do want to save her 3-pip for last, because it's definitely the one where most of the conversation is going to happen. So I'll start with the 1-pip. The Jedi shall fall. It only orders Asajj. Asajj gains Jedi Hunter, while Asajj performs an attack. During the roll attack dice step before rolling dice, she may gain up to 4 suppression tokens. She gains 1 dodge token for each suppression token gained this way. And for those who don't remember what Jedi Hunter means, it means you surge to crit when you are fighting somebody who has a force upgrade slot. The 2-pip, I Am Fear, also only orders Asajj. When Asajj Ventress begins her activation, she recovers. At the end of Asajj Ventress' activation, she may perform an attack using the following weapon, which is melee or range 1, 1 black, surge to crit, and it has suppressive and spray as the keywords. So it adds a suppression, and spray just means you roll the number of dice equal to the number of minis in the squad. And then her 3-pip. Yes, my master orders no units, because this is a very different card from any other card we've seen before. It says you must divulge this card. It stays in play, and it has 2 different divulge options. You have to pick one of the 2 and divulge this card. So you are trading this card away to not be able to have another command card in your hand. The first option is divulge. Deploy unit step, permanent. Asajj Ventress gains bounty and reinforcements. So Asajj can claim a bounty, and she gets to deploy last with the reinforcements keyword. The other option is divulge, deploy unit step, permanent. Asajj Ventress gains demoralize 1, Makashi mastery, and outmaneuver. So demoralize 1 is giving out a suppression token at range 1 to 2 upon activation. Makashi mastery is the same mastery that Count Dooku has, where she can lower her pierce value by 1 to make it so she can pierce, immune pierce, and impervious units. And outmaneuver lets her spend dodges to cancel crits. So,
Ooh, boy. That's a lot of keyword soup right there.
yeah. So she already starts with 7 keywords on her card. And then you can add either another 2 or another 3, depending on which one you choose with her 3-pip. It's,
This is, this is going to be a lot to remember.
yeah. I mean, she seems really fun with either option. I am personally thinking that you do the first option to give her bounty if there is not another Force user on the table across from you. Otherwise, you go with the other option. Because Makashi Mastery is amazing.
Yeah, 100% agree.
Makashi Mastery. Yeah, it's super good. I think it's also good if you're against like a Mando squad as well, because they have Impervious, so that shuts that down.
Or against Magna Guard, they're immune pierce in melee, so could be Imperial Royal Guard. It's just, hey, you don't normally get wounded by a lightsaber? How about we change that?
That's right. I kind of want to run her with Bosk and like kind of like a gunline style. She could be kind of like the linebacker of the army while everyone's sitting back shooting. Man, double bounty with one of your bounty hunters being a Jedi is super cool. And I'm glad she has reinforcements on that.
Yeah. Also, not having to take allies of convenience to get a second bounty is pretty nice.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Oh yeah, I didn't even realize that. Nice little benefit.
Yeah.
That's like extra +5 points. So,
I mean, she's already more expensive than the other bounty hunters, but
I mean, yeah. I think she's going to be sweet.
Oh, yeah.
For sure, she's going to like kill something on that 1-pip, and I think you can get her to kill something even when it's even when you don't have one of her cards played that turn. So if you like load up dodges on her from, let's say, Kalani or a super attack, then she could just get in there. If you add vigilance, I know it's a little bit more expensive now, then she gets to keep a dodge, so she'll have 2 into the next round. So that just keeps adding to her melee attack power. So she's definitely going to get like a 1-2 punch like that. So
yeah,
look out for her. She will delete whatever she runs into.
She's really good. I think you can choose her flavor however you really want to play her, especially because of that 3-pip, because you can play her 2 different ways. I think the one upgrade that always should be on her is Into the Fray. Beyond that, have fun. Personally, I'm definitely running her with Fear. Because Demoralize 2. I'm going to make people like Fear, alright? If I can make her Demoralize 2, every time she activates, she's just handing out 2 suppression to something.
Can you give 1 suppression to 2 different targets?
Yep.
Nice. Okay, that's pretty good then.
Fear.
Seems good.
My concern is, because she has the 2 force slots, you obviously give her force push. So I definitely like the option of Fear. It's just more of, you're then losing out on like force choke or burst of speed for her dive, which would be...
She doesn't have Master of the Force, which means either you are using her 2-pip to recover them, or you're having to spend actions to recover anyway. So I think, yeah, you bring Force Push at minimum also. But there could be conversations to just go, don't bring anything on her that expends, because how many chances are you actually going to get to use it?
True. Yeah.
I think she'll at least get to use things twice. So the free recover is pretty solid here.
If you bring that card.
That's my bet. Yeah.
And there are reasons why you might not.
Which that card... Yeah, exactly. Real quick, that 2-pip is really good, but kind of awkwardly timed for at the end of the activation. She could perform an attack, right? So normally she wants to end in melee, stuck in with something, right? And it's not versatile, so luckily it says May. You don't have to hit the thing, but...
Yeah, I think it's best.
All I'm saying is be careful, right? You might accidentally kill something.
Yeah, I'd say it's best if you're engaged with 2 units. Otherwise, if you're engaged with another Jedi, just roll an extra die at them.
Yeah, just... Right. All I'm saying is you might accidentally kill something when you didn't want to. You just got to be careful.
Yeah. And I don't like saying it's telegraphed, but if you play her 1-pip, you're probably playing her 2-pip the next turn, because she's got all the suppression on her, and that 2-pip then gets rid of all the suppression.
Yep.
Yeah. You could... I'm not saying it's good, but you could use the 1-pip for a very strong attack, and then second action, recover.
Yeah.
Right? That's a thing you could do. That is very far and few between, probably. But it's available.
Yeah. But again, one of the reasons I say you might not take her 2-pip is because of another card that comes in her box, which is actually a Count Dooku command card. It's a 3-pip called The Sith Will Rule, and it only gives an order to Count Dooku. When building a command hand, treat this card as though it has 2 pips. So the reason I say you might not bring Asajj's card is because you might want both of Dooku's. You might want this one as a 2-pip and Dooku's actual 2-pip. But the rest of this card reads, Count Dooku gains an aim token and a dodge token. Which, right off the bat, amazing. And then it has additional text. After Count Dooku activates, if Asajj Ventress does not have a face-down order token, she activates. After she activates, if she has a face-up order token, flip it face down. If she does not have an order token, assign her a face-down operative order token. So, in short, this is a Dooku card. You don't have to have Asajj. If you play it, Dooku gets an aim and a dodge. And if you do have Asajj also in your army, and she hasn't activated before Dooku, she activates right after Dooku.
Seems good. It's a nice 1-2 punch.
Imagine that 1-2 punch into another Jedi. It's just scary. Especially if they're both Makashi Mastery. That's probably a dead Jedi factor.
Without a doubt. The tougher Jedi, like Vader with all that health, is definitely going down.
Yeah, Vader's going to have a tough time. Yeah. I'd say the 2 Jedi that probably have one of the better survivability rates to this are actually Obi-Wan and Anakin. Because they can actually still surge in defense if they have dodges.
Yep. Yeah, they're specifically good on that.
And they could give wounds back also. So but still.
I also think this card's good, even if you don't have Asajj
Yes.
in your army, because Dooku gaining a dodge. Okay, you sold me, and then the aim is like the icing on the cake. Seems great.
Yeah.
What could go wrong?
Okay, great. Dooku gets an aim and a dodge? Sure. Shoot me if you want, and now I only have to go to move a speed 2 and get in range with my lightning, and I still have a dodge. I still have an aim to make my lightning great.
Yeah, that's the one thing when I do a lightning attack with Dooku's. I wish I have an aim for that, but now I do. This 2-pip's pretty good. I like it.
Yeah, it's a nice card. I'm happy to see something along these lines, and I hope we see more of it in the future for synergy cards, for new characters that have synergy with the existing characters. I think it's great.
Alrighty, so that was Asajj. She looks pretty sweet. How about we move on over to Imperial Remnant? It's the new Battleforce. We have official rules now. Brendan, could you help us out again?
Fine. No, I'm actually really excited for this Battleforce. So the Imperial Remnant has some different special rules than what we are familiar with for the existing battle forces prior to this. It's got some weird list building. For list building, Scout Troopers and Imperial Death Troopers count as core trooper units. That means when you're building your list, they count as core, but in the game, they're still special forces. So you're still using special forces tokens for them. You cannot take more than one of each type of unit with a core rank until at least one of each core rank has been taken. And the army does not include detachments. So basically, if you want to take a double of anything that has a core rank, so Scout Troopers, Imperial Death Troopers, Stormtroopers, or Shore Troopers, you have to take one of each of those 4 before you can double up on something. And we'll get into it a little bit more, but at most you can have 2 Stormtroopers, and at most you can have 2 Shore Troopers, but Scout Troopers and Death Troopers you can technically at most have 3. And that's because of the army building requirements. And it's no strike teams for the Scout Troopers. These are full Scout Trooper units. When you are issuing orders, the nominated commander unit can only issue orders at range 1 to 2, and units beyond range 2 of a friendly commander unit gain independent aim 1 or dodge 1. And units may only use the courage value of the friendly commander unit at ranges 1 to 2 instead of 1 to 3. So courage bubble is lower, it is less, the range at which you can give orders is less, but any unit outside of that range 1 to 2 gets independent aim 1 or dodge 1, which is pretty great. Additionally, any non-droid trooper unit, so basically not dark troopers, in the army with a heavy weapon upgrade icon may equip a heavy weapon upgrade with one of the following unit requirements, ignoring the requirement. So Stormtrooper only, Shore Trooper only, Scout Trooper only, Imperial Death Trooper only. Basically what that means is have fun and mix and match. Put Stormtrooper heavies on Death Troopers or Scout Troopers or Shore Troopers, and etc. Put the heavy weapons wherever you want, whichever unit you want for the troopers that aren't the dark troopers. For your army building, it's pretty limited. Commander options are Moff Gideon or the Imperial Officer. Your special forces are Scout Troopers, not the strike teams, and Imperial Death Troopers. Your core, as I stated earlier, are 1 to 2 Stormtroopers or 1 to 2 Shore Troopers. Again, you cannot double up on those until you have one of each of the 4 options. Your support options are the 74Z Speeder Bikes and E-Web Heavy Blaster Team. And your heavy option is the Imperial Dark Troopers, and the only unique upgrade allowed is the Dark Saber. When building your list, you have to have 1 to 2 commander or operative units. There's currently no operative units available. probably just future-proofing. Core, each army must include 3 to 6 core units, and remember, the Scout Troopers and Death Troopers count as core for the building of your list. Support, each army may include up to 2 supports, and heavies, each army may include up to 2 heavy units. I said a lot. Thoughts?
Seems pretty sweet. There are a lot of interesting things I'm already thinking about with the different combinations of heavy weapon swaps that you could do. So one that I like is Death Troopers at range 4 with an RT, what is it, 76C, whatever it is.
97C.
I don't remember. That's the one.
I thought the same
97C.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Shooting at range 4 with 8 dice. What is that? Precise 2. So you have to reroll 4.
Search to
Yeah.
hit.
That's
With an aim,
it
it
seems
averages
gross.
out like just under 7 hits on average with 1 aim.
imagine if you had 2.
Right. Yeah. I mean, if you're just sitting at range 4, you're going to get the aim, and then you take the aim action, you shoot, and you're going to probably get close to 8 each time. Which we already saw this once before with 6-die pools. They were called spider droids, and it was a problem.
Oh, and then they were called HRUs. And now we got Death Troopers.
And now we got it with 8 dice instead of 6.
Oh, man. This seems really good.
I also like the Scout Troopers with the T-21Bs with the 12-die pool. 8 black, 4 white, crit 2.
I forgot it was 12 dice in total.
Yeah, it's spicy.
That's awesome.
Yep.
That's pretty sweet. No one's like, you have so many threats if you build it correct, and no one's going to expect your Scout Troopers to sneak up that quickly. They scout 3 now, so they're going to get in your face quicker than you think.
Yeah, and
Yep.
they still have low profile and sharpshooter 1, so
I think low profile is like better than ever. A, with the change of like how that keyword operates, and B, almost everything's in heavy cover nowadays anyways.
Yep.
So they're just going to remove 3 off the top. Seems really good.
critical hurt them a lot because their saves are horrible. But yeah,
That's true.
They're definitely an interesting unit with all the new options available. Two of the I want to point out three things. Number one is you can only take 2 speeder bikes, but they still count for getting independent aim or dodge outside of the commander range.
Which is pretty spicy. Like, it's still really good. So if you take emergency transponders as well, you can have, like, on the important turns, either 2 aims or, like, 2 dodges, like, whatever. They could do their best Stap impression, actually, and have a better save than Staps. I think they shoot about the same. But either way, it's pretty sweet.
Also, Dark Troopers outside the range. If you don't want to put the upgrade that gives them retinue, they're still getting a token either way.
Yeah.
It's pretty great. I like, personally, because I think it's both funny and I think it's pretty decent, putting the HH-12 on the Death Troopers. Because if you just want them to shoot at range 4, they're going to have to just keep refreshing to use their suppressive gun. Might as well add an extra 3 black dice to that. That also gives you impact 3 if you need that to shoot things with armor. So,
And you know what's coming up in armor meta? It's definitely Imperial Dark Troopers. So actually, that might be a pretty good counter to some Dark Troopers there.
Yep.
HH-12 meta, here we come.
And lastly, depending on your meme of choice, you can either have 6 saboteurs, or you can have 6 high-velocity sniper rifles.
I think for the meme, I'd rather take these the saboteurs, because sniper rifles are only good when you get sharpshooter, right?
Or crits.
At the max range. I'm talking at the max range, but yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's so many fun combinations.
The fear in HH-12 meta is upon us.
I know!
You're a trendsetter. You've been doing that stuff for years.
Oh,
I'm
what
excited.
a time to be alive. It's almost like they're listening to me. No, this seems like a lot of fun. I would say there's only one list that whatever you build with this battle force isn't going to like, and that's Blizzard Force, because it has all of the impact to kill your Dark Troopers, just natively in the list.
Also, it's got a lot of suppressive. Well, the 2-pip has suppressive, but, it can focus fire very well. And if you want to get the most out of this battle force, you should be outside of your commander's courage bubble, right, beyond range 2. So you're triggering that independent. But, it's a double-edged sword because you're not earning that courage bubble. So you got to be careful. But we already knew that because Blizzard is kind of broke. But anyways, we're not going to beat that horse to death.
Yeah, but no, luckily, Scout Troopers and Death Troopers have Courage 2. The Stormtroopers and Shore Troopers, you can get them to Courage 2 if you give them officers. So there's definitely ways to go around and mitigate the impact of suppression to your list. But yeah, this seems like a list that is going to be fun, win or lose. You're going to have some fun with it, but to master, it's definitely going to take some time.
The only thing I wish they did was add at least one command card to help the eWeb, please. Like something. That's kind of what I was expecting.
Yeah.
I think I set my hopes way too high on that one.
There needs to be an eWeb card that gives them extra range, because it was supposed to be scary in The Mandalorian.
I'm going to say it, if they didn't do it here, where are they going to put it?
They're not.
I don't think it's going to be anywhere.
So
disappointing.
Yeah. Lastly, an important note that was asked on the forums by Ryan from the Stabcast for this battle force. Upgrades, commanding presence, and inspiring presence do not extend the range of your courage bubble or order giving bubble because of the limitations of the battle force.
That's good. That makes sense.
Yeah. Solid question, though. I don't think I would have thought that.
I was definitely thinking
but
about
it makes sense.
I was thinking of things like it said you get independent if you're outside the courage bubble. But maybe if I can extend my order-giving bubble, I can mitigate that because I can give the Death Troopers orders when they need to get rid of suppression because they're disciplined. You know?
That's good. I'm glad that got clarified already.
No, so that was a great question.
All right. Any other thoughts before we move on to Glorious versus Inglorious?
I'm going to try and have some fun with that.
Alrighty. So, for those of you that don't know what I am talking about, Glorious versus Inglorious segment is when two people pick opposing sides of a unit card. This time, we're going to be talking about Droidekas. So, one player is going to be taking the side of Glorious, meaning they're awesome. Hint, hint, that's me. And then one player is going to be taking the side of Inglorious, in which they're not so hot. And I believe that's John.
It's me.
It's John. And then our third player is Brendan. Brendan is going to act as the most impartial judge possible. And then, we're going to list a couple points, do some arguing, and have some fun.
I got to say, I'm more impartial on this one than I have been on past ones. So
that's good to know. Good to know.
That
I am
surprises
definitely going to
me.
sway you.
I feel like they have always been bad. It's not like they were once good and you played them during their heyday and then they became bad and now you're on the fence.
They were always good, sir. But before we get too into it, Brendan, do you want to just read the unit card really quick?
Yeah.
For those of you who forgot what Droidekas do.
Yeah, so Droidekas are part of the CIS. They are 75-point supports with 2 models in the squad. They are a ground vehicle. They can take a comms upgrade. They have 3 health per model. They don't have a breaking point. And they have surging white defense dice. They do not surge on offense. They have AI attack move. Generator 1, which means at the end of during the end phase, they flip 1 inactive shield token. They are shielded 4, so they have 4 shield tokens. And they have the ability to go into wheel mode. So when they activate, they can increase their maximum speed to 3. Their normal speed is 1. And if they do, until the end of the round, they gain cover 2 and cannot attack or flip active shield tokens. They have only one weapon profile. They're dual twin blaster cannons, which is range 1 to 3, 1 red and 2 black, which is suppressive, fixed front, and immune deflect.
Very nice. Thank you. Who do you want to hear from first?
Let's hear from John first.
Ooh, so Inglorious. Take it away.
Inglorious.
Glorious. All right. I'm going to make it pretty short and sweet. 3 points right off the top here. They're bad, they stink, and they're not good. I rest my case.
Oh boy! All right, my turn already.
No. I've got legitimate things.
All right.
So I think I already said. I mean, they've pretty much never been good. So it's not like they ever had their heyday and then they got nerfed, and then now people are still hoping that they return to their former glory, because they were never glorious. And I feel as the game has gone on, they've actually gotten worse, because dice pools are getting bigger, other units are getting faster, and they're still just kind of waddling along with their speed 1, unless you throw them in wheel mode, which makes them even more susceptible to getting focus fired. Offensive output, they average 3.5 hits because they don't surge on attack dice. So 3.5 hits when most things are in heavy cover. It's only going to force 1.5 saves on average, which is pretty low. So you might do 1 wound to a red save unit. If you get an aim in there, you bump it up to 4.5 hits. But again, that's still 2.5 hits through heavy cover, which most things have these days. Defensively, they're vulnerable to focus fire, which I guess most units are. I think the downside to these guys, though, in comparison to other options at the same points cost, Staps, Spider Droids with the ion gun, or even like maybe Magna Guards base 72 points, they can't like Staps, you can hold them back and then boom, they're on you and they shoot you. Or Spider Droids are hitting you from range 4. These guys really have to be in that range 3 bubble, which basically makes them a target for just about everything in your army in the process. And they're not often going to be able to flank you like a Stab does. So offensively, they're not super scary. Defensively, it's nice that they have the shield tokens, but as soon as you chew through them, they're pretty much like peanut brittle with their white saves. And I just think for 75 points, I cannot see a single case where you wouldn't take Staps or Spider Droids over them.
Thanks.
That's a lot of smack talk on a great unit. Man. Let's see. Just to give a little pushback, I guess, you did mention Ion Spiders. Ion Spiders are more expensive. Yes, they shoot farther, but they are more expensive with the new update. John's points are fine. I won't push back other than that. It's fine.
With the Ion Blaster, they are only 5 points more. So they'd be
They
80
still cost
instead
more.
of 75.
Well, but they
So
have
you
to
mean the
have...
Droidekas are still
They
beating
cost
them?
more.
But, John, you're forgetting they also have to have a protocol. So it's more than 5 points.
That's
Who
true.
does? Oh, the Spider Droids?
Spiders.
The spiders.
Okay, so usually you throw attack protocols on there, right? So
Yeah.
83 points.
For the Ion one? Yeah. Yep. I just remembered. You said they didn't have a heyday. That's actually a filthy lie. They did have a heyday, and that was when the starter box came out. Because you got to run
You were forced
Grievous,
to play
a
them
bunch
to
of
get to
B1s,
10X.
and Droidekas. And it was fine. It felt fine against clones that were Courage 1 against Obi-Wan's Battleforce. Alrighty, so that was their heyday, so I don't want to hear it. So here's some interesting thoughts I have on Droidekas. So I'm going to try my best here. They need to be kind of babysat a little bit, meaning if you have a commander like Kalani, they can give dodges plus aims. Dodges plus your shields is pretty good combination. The tactical the generic T-Series can also give surge tokens, which they desperately need on offense, right? So if you want to be more offensive, that's a way to help bump that up. There's a new comms upgrade that everyone knows about. It's called Emergency Transponder. So that's one way to get an aim, right? So you move up. Let's say, I think the best way to play them is to not give them an order and just make them move or make them attack first, right? But ideally just move because hopefully you babysat them enough to give them some extra tokens. So I think Emergency Transponders is really good on them for an extra 4 points. That first shot, you can make it count. And then the Battleforce 1 pip AI coordination, you can make your Dekas shoot twice. By the time you want to play that, you can imagine some of your enemy forces are up in your grill, and there's no way for your opponent to shoot off that standby. Force push doesn't work on a vehicle like that, so they're going to get a standby off unless they kill it, right? So the suppressive keyword has gotten a lot better with objective play. Let's pretend it's key positions, and all the droidekas have to do is just shoot at something. Let's pretend you have 2. You can put force suppression on something. If they have a Courage 2 commander, suddenly they're not scoring on that objective, right? There's a bunch of objectives that work like that now, where panic value is pretty important. I didn't check this beforehand, so I'm just going to ask live. I believe you can hide behind the droidekas because they're higher than a silhouette height. Does anyone know that? I forgot to do my homework before the podcast.
I don't know if they're actually taller than a silhouette height.
Yeah, I know spiders are.
I've got some here. Give me a second.
Okay.
I would assume they are, but
I think they are.
Offhand, I've never seen them on the table, so I wouldn't know.
Right. So the idea is you march your droidekas forward, and they can act like as a shield, right? And then you march your B1s or B2s behind them. And I feel like this is very thematic, right? Like your droidekas are helping protect your troopers, and they can lay down some suppressive fire. I think it's pretty sweet.
Yeah, it looks like the silhouette's like a millimeter taller than the.
Really? Maybe because they're kind of like hunched. I'm surprised.
Although,
all right,
we could ask the forum just to get that clarified.
I know.
The response is going to be no one
get the official
We don't have
answer.
Time to. We don't have time
we
to
need an
answer
official
this.
answer. Yeah. But I mean, please let it work that way. Like seriously, let it work that way. If spiders can have it, why can't droidekas have it? It's so close. Anyways, get the official answer. We'll figure that out later. Also, you can still play objectives like bombing run if that is the objective you are maybe forced to play. You could throw them into wheeled mode. I know John was kind of dogging on wheeled mode, but if you really got to get somewhere, they can go pretty fast. So people forget that. So I think they can play certain objectives like bombing run and breakthrough fairly well. I think they're a very thematic unit. I think they're very cool. You know, just I'm getting ahead of myself, but just give him surge to hit. Like, who cares anymore? Just give him a little help. Honorable Judge Brendan, what do you think?
I have a question for both of you before I render judgment. Neither of you touched on the immune deflect. How do we feel about that in the semi-heavy force user meta?
John, do you want to go first?
Yeah, no, because I
no. Okay,
I need
okay,
time
sure.
to
I'll go.
process that thought.
That's fine. I just thought I'd be courteous and ask. Yeah, sure. I mean, I want to be positive about it, but I think it's a pipe dream if you're thinking about shooting a Jedi. Ideally, the Jedi is in melee with something or behind a line of sight blocker. I mean, that's the ideal world. Sometimes it doesn't happen. If they're out in the open and at exactly range 3, heck yeah, you shoot them. You definitely shoot them. So those are my thoughts on that.
Yeah, I'm thinking of a scenario like you're saying of like when you'd be targeting a Jedi because it's a single unit model, so it's always going to be in heavy. And then I go back to the 3.5 hits, so 1.5 hits into heavy. The Jedi is going to spend a dodge, so it's only going to be maybe one hit, and then it's a 1 out of 6 chance anyway that you're going to get that surge and fire a shot back. So it's so unlikely to happen even if they didn't have immune deflect, unless it was Anakin where you could guarantee the wound. So it doesn't seem that interesting to me because it's going to be so situational, and the potential for it to happen is 16.5% on average, which is so low. I don't really
understand what you're saying. The way I'm thinking about it, though, is if you're making them waste dodge on something that can't wound you, that seems like a plus. Plus the fact that it's suppressive. So let's say you have 2 of these guys, you might actually end up slowing a Jedi down.
It is possible, right? So like, again, it boils down to effectively like this is most of counterplay against Jedi. If you see a Jedi and you can shoot it, most of the time you should shoot it, right? And Droidekas are no different. You should definitely take a shot at it. And Brendan, you're right. You could probably slow it down if you have 2. If you're shooting at Anakin, you definitely like Droidekas have a benefit, right? Because they're suppressive. So like if you're trying to get that flaw on Anakin to pop off, then that's a good bet.
Yeah, that would be the benefit in that situation over even the potential to throw a wound on him, I would think, because then you pin him in place by playing his flaw card, forcing that person to have to draw him out of a bag of 9 or whatever it is.
And then stack more suppression on him.
Yeah, and I would think the suppression would be more beneficial than the whole immune deflect thing. I don't know. For me, Droidekas, like, if you're going to come into range 3 of me, I'm happy to delete your 75-point unit for you. So that's kind of... Whereas, like, Staps, I feel like it's like you think you're safe, and because they're so fast, it's like all of a sudden they're on top of you. Whereas a Droideka, if they go into wheel mode and they're trying to mimic that, 1, they can't just fly over things, they have to go around it, and 2, they can't attack on the same turn that they go into wheel mode. So you don't really have that same element of surprise. So you're either setting up your next turn, which again, then they're already at, range 3 or just outside range 3. They just seem so easy to focus down, and they're not like cheap. And for me, like, I just can never think of a scenario where a Stap is going to be not better in just about every way.
What if you don't like compulsory? What if you like staying put like a turret? That's basically what a droidic is. It's like a very mobile turret,
true.
Right?
A very slow moving. I guess, I mean, they do move. They have the same size base as a mortar, right? Or an MK?
They're the same size as a Stap, pretty sure.
So that speed 1 is a little bit farther than you think, actually. Just because of the base size.
Yeah, it's not bad. Also, they're not... Oh, you know what? Small benefit. Other cumbersome weapons like, a mortar, like you were saying, or MK2 or whatever, they all have cumbersome, right? So you can't move and shoot. Droidekas can. So, I mean, that's like that's a small benefit there.
Yeah, it's pretty good. The workaround, though, is the move standby, and then you can still kind of get your shot because of Sentinel with the Overwatch 3.
True. But if you want the more immediate effect, there it is.
Yeah. I mean, quite honestly, I've never put this much thought into Droidekas, so I appreciate the discussion, but they're bad. Closing arguments.
Take offense. I take offense to this. But there's only one that can judge us, and that's Brendan.
There is. I have one follow-up question because I can't find the answer and I don't know anymore. I know in the old rules, Droidekas couldn't get cover for barricades. Can they now?
I think the answer is still no, but
I'm not finding that
I don't
in
remember.
the core rulebook.
But they
so
can
I'm not
get they can
sure.
get cover from they can get cover from a lot of things now, though.
Right.
You know, just hide behind
So
hide behind some other
I'm
stuff.
just wondering if that might change John's mind and them being squishy because they can get cover a lot more easily now.
Heavy plus shield, you know, it's pretty good. If you
Yeah.
give them dodges as well, you know, solid.
The other challenges, and I guess this is really for any of these types of units, though, like staff, speeder bikes, and as soon as you lose one model, they're like effectively useless.
They're not
But
effectively.
if just for a glorious bullet point, no other unit in those scenarios would still be able to dish out the suppression. So even if you're not necessarily going to be going for wounds, that one Droideka can still shell out suppression because it's suppressive. That's, you know, positive that it has over a staff or a speeder bike, because at that point the speeder bike and staff, it's like, all right, everything's in, you know, light or heavy at this point. I might as well just run away and do donuts in the corner to preserve this activation.
Yeah.
But if it can hang tight and it's like, you know, round 5 or 6, and scoring is upon you, maybe throwing out those suppressive shots just to remove like a Courage 1 unit from scoring, that could be a benefit.
Oh, like I was saying earlier.
I blacked out when you started talking. I can't. Did you make it?
Oh, see. Oh, okay. I was like, what's going on? I was like, did I not say that? No, you're good.
I heard it before.
I really think they're pretty sweet on the new suppression rule and panic rules, right? So it's just a matter of trying them out again. They just have to live. They just have to live long enough in order for those objective scoring units to like matter. So I think that's this like the small issue. I mean, one benefit from against Staps, Staps don't surge natively. Droidekas do, so that's nice.
But they've got critical 1, right? So critical 2 when both are alive.
No, I mean defensively. Sorry.
Oh, defensively. Yep.
Defensively. Yeah, defensively. Yep.
Because
My
they
bad.
kind of survive off of their agile, so each move they're getting a dodge.
Yeah, but and then like I guess it's what's better, 2 dodges and a 6-up save, or is it shielded 4 with surge natively on defense and probably heavy? And I forgot the stat has light, but anyways.
Yeah. For the shielded
Yeah,
4,
it's a lot to think of.
If all of your shield tokens are gone, can you just recover and get all 4 back? Is that how that works? Or it's just 4 for the game?
I wish
One comes back
if that
every
was
round.
like
if
that was a thing, that'd be great.
1 comes back every round. Okay, then yeah.
I'm
So,
just
yeah.
saying, like they're a turret, right? They almost effectively earn a dodge every time, every new round, which is pretty nice. And they like have an initial stockpile of 4. I mean, I think they're sweet.
All right, I think I'm ready
John's doing
to get my
blanking
verdict
and
if-
mathing.
Unless somebody has something else to say.
No, I'm good. I've talked enough.
All right.
I rest my
So-
case.
I'm going to kind of flip-flop here, so bear with me. I'm going to say that Droidekas are glorious only
We can cut it
if-
there. That's fine.
No. Only if you have brought something to help support them, like Kalani or a T-Series to get them some extra tokens. If you're just bringing Droidekas without a way to buff them, they're Inglorious. They need support. They can do a lot for you, but not on their own. So they're Inglorious without some extra support from the army, but I think they're pretty glorious, especially in the new world, where they can get some extra cover. Suppression is a much bigger thing, and while we were talking, I was also just kind of scouring the CIS list, and there's no other CIS unit I could find that had suppressive other than Bosk. So
It's the tank Lockdurd. That's the only other one.
Lockdurd. Doesn't he tap,
Yeah.
though?
He does, but that's fine. You don't mind recovering him.
Nah.
If that's your plan. I mean, yeah, he's just okay. Droidekas do the suppressive game better than him. Especially if you take multiple.
Yeah, you can get 2 Droidekas for the price of the tank, so...
Right, that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think that's where they stand currently. I would love to see them on the table some more. As a result, the last time I did play against them was in the old rules, and I made them feel bad because I Vader smited them onto a building and they were stuck. But you know, that's what you do with
sometimes
things
that
that
happens.
can't climb. So
It's luckily that's only Vader doing that. No one else can do that.
yeah. But yeah, no, I think they're definitely different from basically every other unit in the game, which makes them feel fun. But yeah, I don't know what list will be good with them, but they definitely need support to be glorious. And just on their own, I think they're Inglorious. So it's kind of a cop-out, but we have to look at the list as a whole, I think, to make a decision like that. So I think that's a fair assumption to say.
So Brendan, what you're telling me is you were flip-flopping earlier before we even started, and we were talking about this behind the scenes. Brendan's like, I don't know if they're good or not, and I'm like, John and I will convince you one way or another, and it's still the answer is still flip-flop.
No, you guys have convinced me that they need support. I hadn't been looking. I definitely didn't think of the T series to give them some surges for offense, because I mean, T series is budget super tack. You know, if you want to have more points for the rest of your army, super tack is great to give them an aim and a dodge, make them much more survivable on top of their shields and probably cover in this meta, which is amazing. Yeah, it's another added benefit. They're vehicles. They don't deal with suppression. So they can do things like score for you if it's not a match where you need thumbs. So,
yeah. Also, unlike other vehicles, they don't have like a broken status or status. So like that's a benefit when you need to like double move to something.
So if I'm understanding this correctly, Brendan started on the fence and neither of us did anything to move his position. Therefore, he's giving himself the win.
I think. Wait.
No, I was on the fence.
We can't allow this.
Yes, we can. I was completely on the fence. I am now solidly in the state of, if you're bringing Droidekas just to bring Droidekas, they're Inglorious. They're not going to do what you need them to do.
So I win.
If you build a list to support them, they're Glorious.
Then I win.
Yes.
All right, we're talking in circles, but no, that's good. That's good. Thank you, Brendan, for judging. By the way.
All right.
Yeah. No.
I appreciate
it. It could not have been easy.
It wasn't. My brain is still like you know.
They are one unit I would love to see more of on the table. They're like one of my favorite things from like the Separatist faction. Whenever I see them on a TV show or a movie, I go, hell yeah! I cheer for them. Like
they are sweet.
They're super cool.
Yeah, I mean,
and when they rolled up on who was it? Was it Anakin and Obi-Wan in that? When they roll up on them and they basically take off. They're like, oh, destroyers, and then they take off.
That was Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan.
Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan. It didn't sound right when I said Anakin. Anakin was there. He was just racing pods and such.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're sweet. I dig them. I want to see more.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm currently working on painting my Separatists, so maybe later this year I'll try out some Droideka lists. So
it's crazy. They started at 100 points. I'm looking at the card now. They did.
They went down to 75.
They did.
I feel like they could still... I feel like you could drop them another 5 to 10 and give them surge hit, and then you might see them on the table.
If you gave them surge hit, they stay at 75.
I was gonna say I definitely play with them at Surge Hit, like currently.
Yeah.
I still feel like I'd take Staps, but
Like it's I know the discussion's over, but like it's just a different flavor, right? Do you want to be more mobile, or do you want to be more like a static turret with shields, right? It's just play style.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I would love Surge Hit. Oh my god, or maybe even Crit One. Just I don't know. Who knows?
Crit 1 would be great.
Yeah.
Then they'd feel scary. Very scary.
Cool.
Okay, we beat that horse to death. Good job, us.
Woo! We did it.
Yeah. So that was fun. Brendan, I think you got a cool announcement for the folks at home.
I do. Somehow, for some reason, I don't know why, probably because I agreed to it, but I will actually be the event organizer and head consular for the Atlantic City Open this year.
Woo!
Woohoo!
Awesome.
Yeah, very excited. I'm hoping it will be just as good. Hope maybe better than previous years. I'm hoping at least as good as previous years. But if I can try and make it better, I will. Currently, we're looking to get 64 players, and I've got it set up to be 6 rounds Swiss over 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, June 17th and 18th. So here's hoping we can max out. If we max out, there's potential we can make it even bigger. So I'm hoping we can do something along those lines and make it awesome. I'm also trying to put my own spin on it this year and add something that hasn't existed the previous years. I'm adding a bounty board. So my hope is I've already come up with a list of some bounties. I'm working on some more, some prizes for getting those bounties. And then that players who come can also put bounties out. Let's say you lose to John in round 1 and you go, I want somebody to beat John. I'm putting a bounty out on John. As long as you have something to put out as a prize for somebody who beats John, cool. We can add it to the bounty board. I want people to have fun. Yes, this is an event. People want to play. People want to win. It's a guaranteed 6 games. And let's just have some fun and play Legion.
Nice. Should
Very
be a fun
cool.
time.
It all comes full circle. We were talking about this before the cast. We all met at ACO 2 years ago, and now Brendan is running the thing.
Yeah, somehow ACO 2 years ago was my first ever Legion event, playing with people that I didn't beg to come to my house and play with me. And now I'm running it? Okay. I guess that happened.
That was a quick turnaround.
Yeah, you're moving up, moving on up.
Next, the world.
All right there, Pinky.
Alrighty. I know, right? All right, before we exit, I just want to give a quick plug to a couple different things related to our podcast. Hey, we got a Discord. Want to chat with us? Talk some Legion, show off your hobby work. Maybe show off pictures of your pets. We have a channel for that. We would love to see you there. We also have a hobby talk, hobby hangout voice channel. So if you're doing some hobbying and want some company, just ping us and maybe we can, someone would hang out. One of us or maybe one of the other blasters. You can find us on most popular podcasting apps now, including Spotify, Apple, Google, and YouTube. We would really appreciate it if you leave us a rating and review. It would really help us out. Our Facebook page, you can search for that, The Inglorious Blasters, a Star Wars Legion podcast. And lastly, you can follow us on Instagram at SWL Inglorious Blasters. Before I forget, if you think our judgment is wrong on Droidekas, tell us. You want to ask us a question or give us some general smack talk, please send us an email at swlingloriousblasters@gmail.com. Any other closing thoughts before we crash the ship? There you go.
I got nothing.
I like it. Go Droidekas. Alrighty, I'm Corey.
I'm John.
I'm Brendan. Where are those droids?
Stay glorious, everyone.